Welcome to Diplomatic Channel. I am Amarachi Ubani. Once again, we mourn the deaths of 224 people who died when a Russian aircraft crashed in Sinai in Egypt. Authorities say there were 217 passengers, including 25 children and 7 crew members. While investigations are ongoing as to the cause of the crash and all the mysteries surrounding it, a group said to be allied to the Islamic State has claimed responsibility. And that's a claim neither the Russian nor Egyptian government is buying. The Kogamavia flight 9268 was set to Vas to land early because of a technical failure. That's according to an Egyptian aviation official. But even that claim has been dismissed by Russia, which says up until the crash, there have been no reports of fault. Neither did the control tower receive any SOS calls. Meanwhile, the criminal case has been opened against the airline for, quote, violation of rules of flight and preparation for them. 214 of the victims were Russian, and there were 3 Ukrainians who were thought to be tourists. Moving on now to more cheery news. Congratulations are in order for Ambassador Martin Ohumobi, who has been appointed Joint Special Representative for Darfur and head of the African Union United Nations hybrid operations in Darfur by the UN Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, and the African Union Commission Chairperson, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Ambassador Ohumobi's responsibilities include those of African Union United Nations Joint Chief Mediator. He succeeds Abiodun Bashua. And remember, Ambassador Ohumobi was guest on Diplomatic Channel for our special Independence Day edition. He's had over 30 years of experience in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, serving Nigeria in varying capacities. That's it on Diplomatic News. But on the program this week, we continue to trail Europe's response to its growing migrant crisis, plus the gains of President Muhammadu Buhari's presence at the India-Africa Summit. Do stay with us. It's becoming clearer that Europe needs a solid plan in place to accommodate the increasing flow of migrants into the continent. While some countries have been shutting their borders to the influx, Germany did say it could take in more than originally planned, but not anymore. Germany had indeed been the only country in Europe that was more willing to take in migrants escaping the civil war in Syria and political unrest in other parts of Africa. But since some countries began closing their borders for migrants to make their way up north, it has been overwhelmed dealing with the influx. Berlin expects between 800,000 and 1 million refugees and migrants in Germany this year, twice as many as in any prior year. The government announced over the weekend it was restricting the number of entry points for migrants arriving through Austria. A spokesperson for the Interior Ministry said the new rules on entry points would go into effect immediately. Authorities in Bavaria have complained a lack of coordination with Austria is hampering efforts to aid new arrivals. Others have continued to make their way through Greece, hoping to get asylum in Germany. More than 20 migrants, many of them children, drowned in more boat sinkings in Greek waters while they were trying to reach European Union countries through Turkey over the weekend. Greek officials said 19 had died and 138 were rescued near the island of Kalymnos. Anti-migrant protests have been springing up all across the continent. In southern Austria on Saturday, hundreds gathered to protest against the government's migration policies and call for the authorities to close the border to the continuing influx of migrants into the country. Austrian police said that between 400 and 600 people took part in the demonstration, which ended peacefully. Meanwhile, more than 3,000 people waited over the border in Slovenia in orderly queues to cross into Austria. The police said more than 5,000 people crossed the border at Spielfeld on Friday. Migrants have an even more complicated problem. Temperatures have been dropping and keeping warm outside has become a challenge. The police says emergency accommodation across the country was almost full, which would soon pose a problem for the thousands of migrants arriving at the border with Slovenia. When we come back after the break, world leaders reach a compromise on the crisis in Syria. Do stay with us.